New Mexico's people. No matter where they live, our state is home to a wide variety of remarkable, caring human beings, and many of them go above and beyond to help their local communities in ways that make us all better.
As Tourism Secretary for the wonderful state of New Mexico, it is my privilege to introduce the 3rd annual New Mexico True Heroes Awards. Our true heroes are 10 exceptional individuals who have distinguished themselves as community leaders, creators, and activators who are building a better New Mexico for all of us. The designation of New Mexico True Hero recognizes New Mexicans who work hard every day to uplift others and support causes beyond themselves.
Hello, I'm Dr. Laura Parajon, and this is Little Dog. I'm the Deputy Secretary of Health for the Department of Health, and we are one of the proud sponsors of the New Mexico Magazine's True Heroes program. On behalf of the Department of Health and Little Dog, I just want to thank all of you New Mexican heroes out there who've been working tirelessly every day to make sacrifices to support causes beyond yourselves. We are so proud of all you've done, and New Mexico is a much better place because of each and every one of you. Thank you so much for all your hard work, and congratulations from the Department of Health and Little Dog.
As New Mexico Magazine embarks on its centennial, celebrating 100 years of telling the stories of New Mexico, it is my honor to recognize the individuals tonight who are being awarded New Mexico Magazine True Heroes for 2022. These individuals saw a need and took the initiative to positively impact lives in their communities, thus making our great state a better place. I would like to thank our partners KOB4 and the New Mexico Department of Health for making this program possible.
A panel of judges helped New Mexico Magazine choose this year's True Heroes for their exceptional acts of service, and I am proud to introduce these 2022 True Heroes. It took her years, but a deathbed promise Marianne Cortese made to a friend was fulfilled when a new Bosque Redondo exhibit included Native American voices.
I like to tell stories, and I think that's been one of the most important parts of this exhibition is that people are bringing their stories to us. And we're hearing stories that have been passed down through generations because their great-great-grandparents were here. We actually started going to meetings with Navajo contingencies in 1995 and just started the conversation concerning the possibility of actually doing a building that would talk about the Long Walk and the time that the Mescalero Apache were here and the Navajo. And so we're so pleased that this past summer we had the grand opening for the permanent exhibition. They had to make do with what they had from those rations. Our main purpose was to not only tell this hard history, but to talk about the survival skills, the perseverance, and the healing that did go on. I think it's important to interpret history truthfully. I believe that it's important for us to leave this legacy for children to know what happened in a certain period of time. And so we hope that's what we've done here at the Bosque Redondo Memorial. I've just been able to just see it through the years. I can actually see this from my kitchen window. And so I've just had a good relationship with it for many, many years. This project has been long. It's been multifaceted. And I would say that the community is quite large that has worked on it. My advice to people who do want to make an impact in their community is just don't give up. If you look back 20 some odd years and you would think this project is never going to happen, looking back on it now, we think it happened at the right time.
In Farmington, Army veteran Beverly Charlie tapped into her service experiences in foreign countries to help those back at home.
I started as a local Veterans Employment Representative with New Mexico Department of Workforce Solutions. And there is where I started working with the homeless in doing stand-downs. The first stand-down was in 2012.
They're going to go through the long door and they're going to go in the hallway.
The stand-down is an event for our homeless veterans. It helps our homeless veterans come in for at least that time or during that event. You know, today in society today, our veterans are, you know, those soldiers that fought those wars. Now they have PTSD or fighting a personal war within their head. And so this right here is giving them, you know, a hands up, bringing them back in and let them know they're still loved. The stand down, we anticipate maybe about 105 to about 120, and that's including non-veterans. Now, granted, it's not exactly those homeless that are living on the streets. It's, those families that are at risk of becoming homeless. I am a veteran. I served in the U.S. Army for 14 years, a little over 14. I deployed to Somalia, Haiti twice, and Iraq. We don't really necessarily plan when we get out the service, we see that exit sign, we're ready to go home and, and do something new or start a new life or a new chapter. Little do we know that we're running to a wall. I ended up moving in with my sister, then my other sister, and then my mom before I actually got my home. I think just being in the community and how it matters to me is I know I need help. When I got out the military, the things that my daughter and she was, I want to say about 4 years old, we needed help. I don't mind giving a hand because I know that's where I was. We have different agencies that are providing different services. There are more resources out there for our veterans. So, if we can gather all the supported agencies, there might be something that might help them reintegrate back into American society. You're not in it alone. You have, people like to walk together. You got to let them know I'm walking with you, not in front of you. You don't have to lead, but being a part of something, that you see a happy face at the end, you're like, gosh, we did that. And I think that makes me feel happy.
No matter the need or where it is, people count on Enrique Macias Moreno to show up and help, and he does, often in his signature ride.
I am the founder and the current director of the Roswell Creek Disaster Relief. We focus a lot on disasters like structure fires and natural disasters, but that also includes stuff like homeless outreach, looking out for our seniors, our veterans who are affected by inclement weather. So it kind of all combines itself together.
Who's the strongest out of the two of you? You.
Why you putting me?
But having a relationship with like the local churches, and some of the other veteran services here, like Goodwill, Salvation Army, American Red Cross.
But let's get her down. That one.
Some of the other groups, you're able to provide a better assistance to anybody who needs specialized services here. I wanted to be able to give the community the tools and experience to be able to volunteer. Something happens, I can call out on the community and they'll all come up and show up in groups. Church groups, we've worked with groups like Home Depot, have shown up. Pioneer Bank, a local bank, has their volunteer group that shows up. Trying to educate our youth on the power of, volunteerism. Working together is pretty much all I can say.
She has helped mothers, families, migrants, and her poetry is read at Holocaust and school shooting vigils. Kindness and tolerance are Doris Fields' mantras.
My name is Doris Fields, and I am the chair of the board of directors for Placitas Community Library. For me, I have a commitment to work in the community, to make the community better as much as I can. I came on to chair the board of directors at the point that we were about to begin building an addition to this library. I had a board, a lot of volunteers helping to make this whole thing actually come to be. And it was quite a challenge, and it was good, it was fun. Learned a lot, made good relationships, extended relationships. I celebrate Kwanzaa, and one of my favorite principles of Kwanzaa is Kuumba and also Kujichagulia, where it's self-determination. You determine what you're going to be, how you're going to be in the world. Kuumba is being creative. And then there is also a principle, actually, in Jewish culture, tikkun olam, which means that you make the world, you have a commitment, you have a responsibility to make the world better. So I've functioned on that pretty much all my life. And so in working here, that's kind of just how I've lived. We work with a lot of different organizations within the community and working on building this new addition has been, I think, a way for us to reach out and be reached by the community. Libraries are so different. Moms go to meet. We have HOAs that come in and meet in the library. If we can't, on a very personal, interpersonal level, work through differences and challenges, how diametrically opposed they might be, if we can't work through that on a very small level, 1-to-1 or 1-to-4 or 4-to-3 or whatever, if we couldn't do that, I have to have hope that we can. If we couldn't do that, I think there could be no real hope for the world to actually improve. If somebody says, oh, you can never heal that, I question that. I don't just question that, I challenge that. I think we can. And I also think we must.
2 local doctors operating a community clinic in a rural area face the dangerous COVID virus with courage and new ideas. Meet doctors Jody Casados and Levi Macias.
I think one of the reasons that we were nominated for this award is our preparedness in fighting COVID in such a geographically isolated and medically underserved area.
At a time when there's lots of obstacles in a community this size, to be able to bring all the resources that we have for COVID, education, in addition to treatment and vaccinations. And so that's been one of our biggest goals during this whole time.
We are both homegrown physicians from such a small area, and that's pretty much unheard of in New Mexico and largely over the US, is that a community of this size to have 2 physicians who actually became physicians and then came back home to practice in this area.
Coming back home to practice medicine has been super rewarding. I think both of us had different career choices in the past, and I worked in a different hospital before coming here, and I knew that I wanted to come back and serve my community. This kind of work here in our community, it's super important because when we see anybody in clinic, our patients, it's always a friend or relative.
Dr. Macias and I really stepped up and took the bull by the horns, knowing that our community was very, very at risk, and knowing that we were not going to have a hospital with an ICU of 12 or 15 beds and ventilators, and knowing that we were not going to be the first places where either testing or vaccine unrolled. And our population didn't have the means, the financial or even the transportation means to get down to get tested or get down to get vaccinations in larger areas. So we made that possible for them. Our medical staff just really stepped up and were amazing. And within the first 19 days of vaccinating, we vaccinated 1,000 people with a medical staff of about 10.
And seeing that first test of our PCR machine that we early on we pre-ordered, even before we saw that the testing was available at other facilities, we just we readily pre-ordered this thing because we knew we needed it to have in our community because we're in the middle of nowhere.
We were able to get those really amazing machines, and we would use our paramedicine service to go out and draw labs, and they would even take iPads for patients that were technologically challenged, and we could talk to the patient, we could see the patient and do patient visits on the iPads with our paramedicine team. New Mexico really is kind of doctor poor in that we just don't have enough providers in the area and staying in the area. And I think medicine is an amazing calling, and it's a beautiful way to spend your life. And I just feel so blessed every night I get to go home and do this for a living.
When the state's worst wildfire was raging, world-class chef and restaurant owner Sinclair began cooking and delivering delicious food to those who needed it.
So today we're, as a team, being recognized for the work we did to feed people during the Hermit's Peak fires.
These massive flames from the Calf Canyon Hermit's Peak fire took...
And as soon as people started being evacuated from their homes and being held in shelters, we decided it was time to feed people. There was people coming in, still covered in ash from their burning properties, having their first hot meal in 3 days. So we decided to raise some money. We posted on GoFundMe, and there was a few people that helped us share that information. We ended up raising, in 3 days, $60,000, but then overall $115,000 total, which we committed in full to providing free meals for people displaced by their homes and first responders. I mean, feeding people is great, and it's a total necessity, right? I mean, people need a good meal, but in the times where they're not getting food, or they're not getting care, or they don't have any comfort, to be able to provide an hour and a half of that where they could sit in this nice dining room, it was special. There were countless moments. I couldn't possibly distill it down to one. The way that this town gathered together and helped each other was really impressive. Vegas is a strong, proud, and tough town. They proved it through what we went through. We didn't set out on this to like make this massive impact. The community around us saw that we were doing something right, and they supported us and rose us up in a way that we raised so much money. I mean, it's unbelievable how supported we felt through that situation. And in turn, we're able to pass that along to the people who really needed it. I mean, we got to be kind of a conduit for good. And it was the experience of a lifetime. So we didn't expect for it to kind of snowball into such a big humanitarian effort, but we're glad that it did. We posted this thing thinking we'd raise a couple $1,000s and be able to pay for food and be impactful. We never knew just how impactful we could be.
A single mom's health tragedy changed the way Dr. Sanjeev Aurora thought about medicine and drove his efforts to create a way to help more patients in isolated places.
I'm the founder of a project called Project ECHO. Project ECHO is a method to democratize the implementation of best practice healthcare all over the world. This is an essential ingredient for getting good healthcare. If you can't have the right knowledge at the right place at the right time, it's impossible to get the right care. So I started ECHO based on 4 ideas. That first, I would use technology to leverage my expertise so that everybody in New Mexico could benefit, because there were 28,000 patients in New Mexico who had hepatitis C and only 1,500 had been treated. Went around the state of New Mexico and created 21 new sites for treatment of hepatitis C run by primary care clinicians, and I gave them my protocol for treatment, and they said, no, we can't do this, this is too toxic. I'd like to just have you and your panelists just comment on that one issue. And in 2003, I started ECHO, where all 21 would join once a week on a Wednesday afternoon from 3 to 5 p.m. and one by one present patients to each other and to me and my psychiatrist and my pharmacist at the university. And together, over 2 hours, we would co-manage 8 patients, and I'd give them a 15-minute lecture. What we found was in 1 year, they became complete experts. The wait in my clinic fell from 8 months to 2 weeks. And over the next several years, more than 10,000 patients got treated. It is as a movement that we truly are greater than the sum of our parts. Once this was done, the next step was we could use it for any number of diseases now. So we started one for diabetes, one for mental health, one for addiction disorders, one for HIV, and so on. So we started training everybody else in the world on the ECHO model. And now we have, it's a hub and spoke model. And we have 792 hubs. And we have more than 3.5 million learners in 192 countries for more than 70 disease areas. And now it's become a global movement to democratize the implementation of good healthcare. I've always believed that to whom more is given, more is expected. Everyone should be involved in some form of community service, not just for the community, but for themselves, because it'll bring them great joy and satisfaction in life.
The memories of a young 4-H girl turned into a holiday miracle years later, and now, for many seniors, Christmas just wouldn't be Christmas without Kirsty Forest.
The work that I'm being recognized for is my project, Silver Bells. I started it in 2018, And I wanted to gift all of our seniors in our nursing homes in the area with Christmas presents. Because I felt like, you know, sometimes they get forgotten and are alone, and so I wanted to do something just to show some love and spread some cheer, you know. So I went to all the nursing homes in town and asked what they wanted for Christmas, and I made ornaments of what they wanted, you know, a name and what they wanted on that ornament, and then our community comes and picks them up and they shop for them. I love our community in Clovis because they come together for events like this. I feel like I'm just the elf behind the scenes that puts this Christmas project together, but it's our community that comes together and shops for these seniors and volunteers their time to come dressed as Christmassy as possible and spend time with the seniors and make them feel, you know, cheer and love and valued. I set up delivery teams so that we can go in and spend time with the seniors, because that's more important than the gift, honestly, is the time that we spend with them. The things that they ask for are little, not crazy, expensive gifts. Some of them want a throw blanket, or they want their favorite candy bar, or lotion that smells nice. My first year that I did Silver Bells, the one that stood out to me the most was a lady named Betty. She said that she loved cats and chocolate. I said, oh, me too. I got to actually deliver that one to her, and I talked about my cats, and you know, we enjoyed talking together. I learned after my first year of doing Silver Bells that a lot of seniors like stuffed animals because they had pets at home and they don't have them there, so it gives them some comfort of someone else being there with them. There's always people that need affection, that need that time and energy, and I mean, it's a week out of my life that I spend delivering gifts and a lot of behind the scenes time, but that is nothing compared to making these people's day.
While working overseas, teacher Liz Bradford made a decision that changed her life and the lives of refugee or immigrant children and families who relocated here to New Mexico.
My name is Liz Bradford, and I am a newcomer teacher here at La Mesa Elementary School, supporting kids who are new to the United States and new to the education system. Many of our kids have never had schooling before, have had interrupted schooling. I teach grades kinder, first and second, and so my kids are in their regular classroom, and then I pull them out to provide them with extra support in all curriculum areas.
I feel happy when my mom buys me dolls. I feel good when my mom takes me to the water park.
Children are really the future of what's going to happen in our society, and all kids deserve the best education possible, and all kids deserve the best chance starting from school.
How the kids are all different colors. And
my kids come from a lot of places all over the world, and they face a lot of challenges because they are not only facing linguistic challenges, learning a new language, but also cultural challenges, and they've been through a lot of trauma in their home countries. Being able to be the extra support for the children and the families is very meaningful to make sure that the kids can achieve those academic goals, but also social goals, and also just be good people, really. Maybe I have created the space for that, but the kids themselves are who bring the community, and I think that is just a beautiful part of what I do every day, and it's very inspiring and makes me happy to show up to work every day. And I really want them to remember school as something really positive and something that was inspiring, because I believe when they're adults, they can look back and want to inspire someone else and do something good for the community. And if our community as a whole could look at different groups of people who are immigrants from all over and see the wealth of knowledge and experiences that they bring and see them as people just like us, I think that would be sort of the biggest thing that I would want people to take away from this. They have taught me so much. I think that's the thing, is when you're teaching, you go into it to teach academic skills, but what you get out of it is life-changing.
Artist and author Diana Molina's worldwide travel and passion for telling cultural stories has resulted in a unique exhibit celebrating our borderland and the people who live there.
Well, it's strongly related to a project titled Icons and Symbols of the Borderland, Art from the U.S.-Mexico Crossroads. And it's a traveling exhibit that began in 2015. The exhibit, book, and public presentations feature approximately 32 artists. And again, it's in varied mediums, everything from paintings, collage, sculpture, but also short films and workshops where we invite the community to participate, and then we incorporate that in presenting it publicly. It is the opportunity to share our borderland story in a very unique way that encompasses the environment, the frontera infrastructure, food and drink, the sacred and profane. It offers that the opportunity for the diversity of the story. It is art as the connective tissue. It's tied with the Camino Real, that thoroughfare of exchange across the continent, across the Americas. The content, the outreach, it's just constantly inspiring to see the participation, and whether it be the faces of children enthusiastic responding to a piece of art, or adults working with the children, and the family combination and engagement in that expression. Passion is essential in that connection, and listening to the different voices, finding the ways to engage those perspectives, and it provides the opportunity for the content and the work and the voice of the artist to be shared in everybody's home and space and through the book.
So much good is going on all around us, and these 10 true heroes are the people making it happen all across our state. A big congratulations to the 2022 winners of the True Hero Awards. Thank you for helping to lead and inspire others, and to everyone out there doing something to make someone's life brighter, thank you.